Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here. Sorry. Oh. On 101.1 FM, 1230 AM KGEO Sports Talk. I apologize. I had to run down the hall there to grab something. I'm Chris Burdick. That's Sparky back with me here at our studios. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for.
Oh, we got a show today for you to wrap up the week. And we're getting a 3-day weekend on top of that.
Yes, we are.
And if you have your kids, I'm sure they have a fog delay. So put them back to bed.
Man, this is some of the thickest fog I've seen in
Dude,
Bakersfield.
I was just saying the same thing to Romeo this morning. When I was driving in, I was actually driving 10, 15 miles per hour because I could not see.
I couldn't see 2 feet in front of my face, and I live across the street.
And it is wild. But we'll get into, Kyle Tucker's got a new new team. And, big surprise. I bet you know what team he's playing for, but we'll get into that. We'll preview this weekend's divisional round of the NFL playoffs. We'll preview the Monday National Championship. We'll have our boy Chris Flail joining us at 8 o'clock. He's got a lot to talk about as an Eagles fan. And join us at 8:30 as we'll have David Koechner. I've looked his name up. He says all three are correct.
Koechner, yeah. I was listening again because I love this dude. So obviously doing some prep and research again, just on the absolute list of just roles this man has taken in my lifetime.
How do you prep for an interview with a guy that's done 200 plus movies, but there's so many of them, that I forgot he was in Captain Underpants.
Yep.
One of my favorites, The Goods, Krampus. Yes.
He's one of the best characters in Krampus, in my opinion. He's one of the,
Todd Packer from The Office.
Todd Packer, Champ Kind, the manager from Waiting, as I said yesterday, one of my favorite underground movies that not a lot of people have watched.
That's a great movie with Ryan Reynolds.
I love that movie. And Jake Long, right?
Isn't that the one?
Yep.
And
that's and Dane Cook. Our favorite hated on comedian is in that movie as well. It's actually one of the best roles he takes.
He made a cameo in Austin Powers.
He
did. Spy Who Shagged Me. He's in so many movies, but
And I believe he's a diehard Chiefs fan as well.
Really?
I think. I'm not 100% on that one. A lot of the interviews I've seen, he's got the Chiefs logo on him. So I'm assuming he's a Chiefs fan. We'll get his thoughts on all of his sports teams.
He'll be in town tomorrow night at Temblor. Our boy Dan Betts, I believe, is opening that show. So get your tickets over at Eventbrite. And if you're going out tonight, The Offspring, Bad Religion, is also playing tonight at the Dignity Health Arena.
Both of us will be there. Yes. So if you see us, come say hi. Come take a picture or whatever you want to do. I'm not going to say no. I love to meet you guys and just hear what you guys feel about the show. Even if it's negative, call me an idiot. I don't care.
Yes, do it. Do it now.
Yeah,
text
do it
me.
now while you can.
Text and call us idiots, but you can call or text in anytime at 661-842-2000.
100%. And before we get into this whole Dodgers organization making every baseball fan angry again by signing Kyle Tucker yesterday, even though everybody already knew he was going to sign with the Dodgers. This wasn't a surprise. We got to talk about the story that broke yesterday a little bit more, the one that had to do with the NCAA basketball teams.
You read these texts?
Yes. And there's a lot more information that I learned after the show from guys like Pete Thamel and all these other guys who went on ESPN and the McAfee show and a lot of this other stuff. But there is a underlining group in all of this that connects not only all of these teams together in NCAA, but also the gambling bust from a couple months ago in the NBA, the poker games, and the Chauncey Billups or Terry Rozier situation. All of this is connected.
Of course it is.
It's all connected. And apparently it's all connected by two men by the name of Shane Heenan and Marvs Fairley.
They're the pimps?
I guess these are two guys that were doing the majority of the bribery. We were kind of right while also being kind of off a little bit yesterday while talking about this with the little information that we had. But these guys would call small schools, and I have a list of them right here. They are as follows, and I promise you most of you aren't even going to know most of these colleges, but Abilene Christian, Alabama State, Buffalo, Coppin State, DePaul, Eastern Michigan, Fordham, Kennesaw State, LaSalle, New Orleans, Nicholls State, North Carolina A&T. Like, again, these are all tiny, tiny colleges. And that's on purpose because they were targeting these players that don't make the money on NIL that a lot of these other bigger schools do, and offering them upwards of $10,000 to $30,000 to throw games in the last 2 years. This stretches back to 2023, if not further. All we know is that these 20 to 26 defendants are all within the last 2 to 3 years in the NCAA. Some of them played as early as just a couple days ago and are still on teams. All those players that are still on teams, though, have been removed by their colleges and suspended indefinitely, as we said yesterday they should. But
I hope you heard the Drake Toll show this morning, because he
he's
he
going
was
off
reading
on
off
it.
the text. It was hilarious.
It's crazy. And honestly, just I had to pull the tweets from Pete Thamel, who is the authority on a lot of this, college sports stuff right now. But among the wagers listed in the indictment, this is from Pete Thamel's X account, approximately $485,000 on Townsend to beat UNC A&T. And again, I don't think these are all lump sum. Like, this isn't one guy putting down this much money. This is a group of people that adds up to this much. Approximately $424,000 on Kent State to cover the first half spread against Buffalo. $275,000 on Alabama State to cover the first half spread. $256,000 on North Kentucky to cover the first half spread. Approximately $161,000 on Louisiana Lafayette to cover. A wager of $168,300 on, oh Lord, the Guangdong Southern Tigers. I don't even know what that is. Attempted $50,000 wager in a casino in Kentucky on Southern Mississippi at Alabama State. These are all ridiculous bets for schools and colleges that nobody knows.
Only on ESPN Ocho.
And there's a reason for that, because they can get to these kids who aren't making money like the other ones are. And they're seeing all of these athletes make thousands and millions of dollars playing the sport that they all love. And they don't see a future in what they're doing right now. It's just like and I hate to add CSUB to this, but if someone walked up to an athlete at CSUB and offered them this type of money, I wouldn't be surprised if they said yes too. It's just, you're a broke college kid looking for any kind of success, and that's the closest thing you're going to get to it. Of course you're going to take it. And it even gets worse when you find out that some players who are now were professionals playing at Louisiana State at one point are also pulling these people in.
Yeah.
And telling these guys, hey, man,
it's a hustle, man.
Yeah, you can do exactly what I did and make it to the pros.
It's a hell of a hustle, man. If they weren't investigating this so much, they wouldn't have ever got caught. So I couldn't say it was only the last few years.
No.
But the more I read into it, I mean, some of the texts from the pimp, I would say, texting some of these players mid-game at halftime saying, hey, dude,
you're doing too good.
You're doing too good.
You
Slow it down. I told you.
Yeah.
And the guy, one of the players even wrote back and said, man, they suck, man. I can't do any worse than I'm already doing.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? He said, I've
always wondered that.
I could sit on the bench and still win this game.
I've always wondered that. Like, granted, yeah, we always hear these stories about point shaving, or even, movies that have made fun of it, like The Longest Yard. But what if you go against a team that's just that bad?
Yeah.
Like, I know that there have been comedy movies that have made fun of this, thinking, oh, we're going to play just so bad that they kill us, and then they end up destroying them because the other team is just that bad.
It reminds me of Bookie.
Yeah, a little bit. And that's
a little bit of a above the rim, I'll call my age. But yeah, the old school, where they would lose on purpose just to make that money.
Right. And again, it's a play. You lose a couple times and everybody bets on you and all that type of stuff. You boost up the rating. I get it, but this is just terrible. And honestly, all defendants in this are all looking at charges of bribery in a sports contest and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. The select few fixers, as they're calling them, are also charged with additional charges of wire fraud. The maximum charges for bribery are about 5 years. Maximum for wire fraud are 20. So a lot of these kids took a $30,000 bribe to split with the rest of their team, mind you. Sometimes it was, a big lump sum of money that was given to them, and they split it across however many players. But all of these guys are going to get popped. And now not only are you ruining the game that you claim to love, but now you're ruining the rest of your life just because you got told by a guy, hey, we'll, front a couple $1,000s to you if you throw this game for us to make a couple million. And that's the other thing that I don't get either. You know these guys are betting on the game to make millions upon millions of dollars. And you're okay with just getting chump change out of that? Like, again, not something that you should be really focusing on, I realize. But when you're really boiling it down, should you really be okay with just getting paid pennies on the dollar
That's
for
what I was just
ruining a
gonna say.
game? Like, these guys are walking away with what, 15 to 20 times what they just gave you, if
Oh,
not
yeah.
more?
You're just getting a small percentage,
Come on, man.
but it's more than they were
And
making.
you're taking the risk. You're the one doing most of the risk. Why?
And see, I don't think they're ever going to be able to get all of this handled
No.
just the way it is. I mean, even if it was, I mean, obviously the guys making these bets when it comes to, 10 to 30K bets on games that no one's watching, that's a big flag.
Right. And again, it's just a weird, weird way to prey on a lot of these athletes, to know that these guys are hurting and to know that you can really just manipulate them because they'll do anything for it. That's so just diabolically wrong. It really is. And these guys don't care. This Shane Heenan and Marv's Fairley, they don't give a damn. They really don't. All they care about is the money that was going in their pockets from this and their poker exchanges with NBA players. They could not care less about.
So that is the
athlete.
same group.
Yeah, apparently, at least these two are. They're connected to the same thing. So it's the same group of guys. And again, it ties into what I've been saying about the break-ins as well. There's no way this isn't a conspiracy. There's no way this isn't a single group of people who have tracked down all these athletes' houses and send people to go break into them. I may be putting on a tinfoil hat here, but come on, you cannot sit there and tell me that all of this is just one happy coincidence, or unhappy coincidence, I should say. But at this point, we have to wait and see what happens with all of this. I can honestly say the Shane Heenan character and Marv's Fairley, I hope you get more than what is actually on this. But this is ridiculous. I feel for a lot of the kids. And the now great growing problem that everybody is seeing is the potential of this leaking over into the big conferences and these bigger schools that do pay out, maybe to, I don't know, get even more rich. I really don't know, but a lot of these kids, I think, are going to be more. They're going to push it away more because they know they're making money. They know they're not going to risk all of the potential that they could have for $30,000. A lot of these kids in the smaller schools don't care because they're not making that kind of coin. But Pete Thamel made a very good point yesterday on the McAfee show, which, if you can pull it up for me, Sparky, I left it there for you in a folder. And he was addressing Ty Schmidt's question of this happening, of this bleeding over into the next level, or into the essential higher conferences and whatnot.
Who is it?
Pete Thamel. It should be the last one. Let's hear from Pete Thamel real quick.
The biggest name school involved in this tie is DePaul in the Big East. There are a couple DePaul bets listed in the 70-page indictment today, and it looks like, again, there were 4 current players involved in this who've played college basketball in the last week. Jeff Borzello reported that today, including a guy who got some buckets for Kennesaw State last night. But for the most part, this is past tense. It's been rooted out. There's been like a drip. There was a player who transferred a few times, ended up at Wisconsin this year, and all of a sudden he's not going to play for Wisconsin anymore because of interviews, NCAA, FBI, etc. So I do think that the damage that's listed here today is the extent of this scandal. I don't think we're going to see this flash up in some more familiar brands. And look, they preyed on the vulnerable. They preyed on the guys making $30,000 a year, not the guys making $300,000 a year. And it's pretty evident if you read through the indictment how they did this. They would show there's one portion where they sent pictures of $100,000 in cash, and they were trying to encourage a guy, hey, tell your teammates, like, this is for them if they're gonna lose by more than 8 in the first half this weekend.
See, and that's what I'm talking about. I mean, good that we can now put that to rest and know this probably won't leak out into the bigger conferences, but it's still just the thought of it being there in general makes my skin crawl. And the thought of these guys preying on a lot of these athletes who, again, are 19, 20 years old a lot of the time. They don't know any better.
Mm.
They really don't. I mean, if you had the opportunity as a 19-year-old to get $30,000, regardless of how you did it, you'd probably say yes. And I'm not saying that towards everybody. I'm sure there are people that are outliers that have higher moral ground. I get that. But as a struggling athlete in college, you're still trying to pay for your classes. Some of them may have scholarships, but a lot of those kids don't.
I
I
get
get it.
I get both sides of it, but I can also not say it's 100% they're victims because money's getting made. They're
Fair.
not stupid. They've seen this. This isn't the first time this has came out. I mean, this is going on for years. These popping players in all sports. And yeah, 19 years old. You know what I was doing at 19, 20 years old? I understood what a bribe meant. I understood what, shaving points were. I also know that they're not, they're struggling,
Mhm.
Traveling, trying to eat, trying to pay the bills, trying to pay your phone bill. And not everybody has parents that can pay their bills.
Exactly.
So I understand both sides of it, but I also can see, some of these players. I mean, there's a list of players, and I'm sure not all of them are victims, but just like he said in the clip, I mean, they're praying. They know where they can get money, and even if they get popped in this, they'll find another sport. They'll find another way, another avenue to bet on anything. Once you're a gambler, man, you can find ways to make money on gambling.
It's an addiction in some ways, and honestly, I mean, I guess we are part of the problem because we do talk to our guy Bolt Brady every single week, helping you guys who do sports gamble make some money. But at the same time, I don't condone this. Like, I think that gambling in general can be good. It's just like alcohol. Everything can be good in moderation. But when you go overboard like this, when you're affecting other people's lives, that is where you draw the line. That is where you can't do it. And this is unacceptable. And that's why I personally, I agree with you. You're right. These guys aren't victims in a sense of they didn't know what they were doing because obviously they knew that they were taking a bribe. But I'm more saying they didn't know, as in they didn't see how big this would become. They didn't think that them throwing a game against DePaul would have this kind of ramifications where they're now potentially staring down upwards of 25 years in prison, or at least a 5-year and a 20-year sentence that can be spent concurrently.
And like you said yesterday, I would expect them to throw the book at him.
Right. And again,
make an example out of him.
You have to. With everything going on right now, with the NBA situation, with all sports betting and just the liabilities that you now have to handle, you have to set a precedent. You have to send a message to everybody, especially whoever is working with this Mr. Heenan and Mr. Fairley. They have to be made an example of.
And money wise, they talked about what you had previewed yesterday is what the money side of it with sports gambling.
Yep.
And just in the last 5 years, it has turned into $1 billion with a capital B.
Yep. And
business.
It's going upwards.
Yeah. And it is almost 5 times as much in the last 5 years in sports gambling.
And that's what scares me, is just how quickly people are willing to jump on this train and cut off, or at least cut up everybody that is connected to them in order to do it. And
I think this monster is a bit too big for him now.
Again, Pete, having said that this is it, this is probably the extent of it. Good. I hope that this is the extent of it. I hope we don't hear any more major outcries from all of this. But at this point, it's just going to become a absolute, what in the heck am I being given here? I'm not going to talk about that. Anyways, sorry, Mr. Scott Cox giving us some information here from a morning show. I personally I'm happy that we've stomped this out, at least to this degree. I hope that this is it, but if we see something more out of this, like if we hear of a story here in a couple months of some kid at Alabama taking a bribe to throw a game against LSU before the March Madness tournament, we're going to be in big trouble. Because it's kind of like roaches. When you see one, trust me, there's 100 other ones that are in your kitchen right now, and it's going to get much, much worse. So let's take a break. On the other side, we'll talk about the Dodgers and their latest acquisition and Mr. Kyle Tucker, how good that is going to be for them, and what that means for the Dodgers organization as everybody continues to cry that they are ruining baseball by signing every all-star on the planet. personally, y'all need to just, I think both sides need to stop talking about this argument, but I'll explain why on the other side. This is the early bird special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. We are also streaming video live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can come join us on there if you would like, or you could join us all over the place on social media as well, TikTok, Instagram, all that type of good stuff. Dodgers have once again angered the entire world of baseball by signing Kyle Tucker yesterday. It's 4 years, $240 million. Didn't expect the contract to be that lucrative, if I'm being honest. He is now the second highest contract in the MLB behind his teammate in Shohei Ohtani. And again, everybody is crying, Dodgers are killing baseball. Dodgers are killing baseball.
It's baseball.
It's baseball.
Killing baseball.
Yeah. And honestly, we've made this argument a couple times and being parroted by almost everybody now that, yes, it does really matter how much your owners are willing to pay in order to be successful in baseball. But I also was thinking about it yesterday, Spark. Although Dodger fans love to use that as their argument that your owner could do it too, I had to wrap my head around that could be fair if everybody was making $750 million a season, but they're not. You know who else is? The Yankees. That's the only other team. You know who's in third place? The Cubs. Way down there at $500 million. And it goes down from there. So theoretically, all Dodger fans are correct. Their owners could technically pay for a lot of these players and just say, hey, man, you could put down the money yourself if you wanted to. Absolutely fair.
Just hope for the return.
Exactly. But when you really sit there and look at it, I mean, not every team can be the Mets, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Phillies, and spend about 80 to 90% of their entire net worth, or their entire net gain, I should say, of a certain year on their roster. And when you really want to talk about it, like teams that are lower down there, I mean, let's talk about the White Sox. Guess how much the White Sox made last year, Sparky, in revenue? Or I'm sorry, in 2024. This is back in 2024.
150 million.
So in 2024, they made 277 million. Okay. They made about 40% of what the Dodgers made, right? Roughly in that area. So the Dodgers have double the amount of money to use on players than the White Sox have. And if you want to mirror some other teams, there are others down there as well. I mean, the Detroit Tigers right now, all they're talking about is how they're going to be keeping their star pitcher, Tarek Skubal. And trust me, Dodger fans are foaming at the mouth, waiting for that one.
They know it's coming.
They do, because they know they're the only team outside of maybe the Yankees or the Phillies that are going to be able to adequately pay him the money.
And they're not going to complain until they can't afford tickets.
Right. But the argument that your owner could do it too doesn't really hold weight the more you look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Because even if that were true, let's say that were true, there's no way in hell the Chicago White Sox are going to be able to pay Kyle Tucker $240 million over 4 years when their team made $277 million in a year. Okay. And I know that everyone's saying, oh, well, that's still over. But you have to take into account everything else that goes into a sports franchise.
The rest of the team, the AAA, everything.
Paying the coaches, paying to fix up the field, paying it to be an actual good experience for you as a fan to go to a game. That all requires money. So
yeah, and our first text said, of course, you guys are going to start hating on the Dodgers.
I'm not hating on the Dodgers. I'm not hating on the Dodgers at all. This is baseball. I'm more just saying the argument of their owner could do it too doesn't really hold weight with everybody. It holds weight with the big teams. Don't get me wrong. The Cubs, the Phillies, the Yankees. I mean, all of them. You could sit there and say that till you're blue in the face. Well, if you're sick of seeing it, your team could have done the same thing. 100% factual. That's true. But if we're talking about the Royals, the Orioles, the A's, all of these other teams that are small market teams that people are calling for their owners to sell because they don't have enough money to compete or they just don't pay the money to compete. That's not the case, man.
Because they're businessmen. They know if they pay a guy like that, they're going to be upside down.
100%. And again, not everybody is willing to pay upwards of 70 to 80% of their revenue on their roster. There's other things that they need to put into. Now, granted, should they still try to be competitive? Yeah, absolutely. 100%. But some teams can't. When you really look at the amount of money these teams make, at least back in 2024, I am trying to find the statistics for 2025. But in 2024, the A's were 30th. Okay, 30th. It made $257 million. They paid their roster $111 million. Granted, yes, there's still a big gap that they could use there, but there's no guarantee that he held on to all that money. It's all about how much your team has made throughout that year. Dodgers and Yankee fans benefit because they themselves, the fans, essentially pay for it. The Dodgers have made back every bit of Shohei's contract already, not because the MLB paid them for it. No, because you paid them for it through your tickets and your purchases and the Dodger dogs and the jerseys,
bobbleheads,
exactly. All of that because the team is winning. And that's where I agree with the Dodgers. You need to spend money in order to win and make money. If your team is not looks shiny and new every year and wants to pull in the fan base, nobody's going to want to pay for your stuff.
Of course.
So that is where I think Dodgers have it right on the head. You need to spend money to make money. If you don't have the team or you don't have the stars like Shohei or Tucker or any of these people aren't going to be paying. And honestly, I'm expecting to look at the 2025 numbers and see the Dodgers upwards of $800 million because to be honest with you, it's going to be ridiculous amounts of money, especially with them raising prices on you every single year with their championship team.
And it's going to raise the prices on everything for Dodger fans to do. And as a Mariners fan, I'll be looking at elsewhere to go see them when they come to California.
You may have to pay for a plane ticket to go see him at home, Sparky, but you could at least buy a ticket for $70.
Yes.
You can't do that at Dodger Stadium here pretty soon. But again, the Dodger fans are right. Your owner does not have a cap. He could easily pay for a lot of these players if they made the money. But unfortunate for, I would say, 2/3 of the league, Spark, they don't make the money. They don't. If your team
and there's a reason that they own a baseball team. They know they know how to do business. And trust me, if if the Orioles wanted to go pay Tucker that, they'd be bankrupt in a couple of years. So they cannot continue to do that. I personally think it's going to be entertaining. I think there'll still be, everybody's favored the Dodgers. And I would expect a couple of teams to be in the mix. There's still plenty of time, but it is kind of funny. The comedy side of it is the top two highest paid players are teammates.
Our teammates now. Yeah. And this is probably going to be the trend going forward, to be honest. And I have to highlight this, and this is where you Dodger fans are going to say I'm hating on you. But the more I look at it, the more you really have become the Yankees. You are the Yankees of the West.
That was the only other text we got. He said, well, yeah, they were all Dodger fans were complaining when my Yankees was doing it.
Exactly.
So of course I'm going to be doing the same thing.
And that's fine. And that is absolutely fine. But again, when it comes to teams that are in the top echelon of making money, the argument against you and your owner could easily have paid this man. Unfortunately for you, they're telling the truth. You guys could have easily paid that man. It's the same thing with the Yankees right now and Cody Bellinger. What are we waiting on? What are we waiting on? Pay the man. You really think anybody else is going to be able to fill that spot any better? And your team's defense is atrocious. He was the only one in the outfield that can catch a ball. Pay the man. I don't understand what takes you guys so long. Unless you guys are, well, you know what? No, I'm not even going to bring that up, the 420 thing. We're going to leave that alone. Anyways.
Well, you can call or text in your comments on this. And
please.
Anything else, your predictions on the NFL games this weekend, the Natty, texted in 661-842-2000.
And before we go to break, the other pretty stellar news, in my opinion, in the baseball world, and for Dodger fans, you get one more opportunity to see Clayton Kershaw pitch for a baseball team, as he will be joining the U.S. team for the World Baseball Classic. I think that's awesome. I was talking to Ralph Bailey about this yesterday, our resident Dodger guy here in the studio, and he wasn't crazy about the idea at first. He's like, I don't know how I feel about this. I laughed and I said, dude, think of it this way. This is a send-off for him. And he probably doesn't even have to pitch. This is probably the one team he could just sit there and look like a manager and never even have to see the field, get his final trophy or ring or whatever they get for this. I still haven't figured that out, what each player gets for this. And walk. We thought he rode off on the sunset with the White Horse winning a championship in the World Series.
Yeah, give me a gold one too.
Do a World Baseball Classic at the same time? Heck yeah, let's go. And could you imagine if the Rams made it to the Super Bowl as well?
That's what he was saying. He said, dude, I'm just there in case anyone wants a breather.
That's what I'm saying. That's all he needs to be for, man. We don't need him every single day. He's not going to be a starter, but middle reliever whenever you need him. And Ralph brought up a really good point. They're going to crush him. They're going to cream him. Don't get me wrong. Anytime he sees the mound, it's going to be rough, but it's still a really cool story for the American team. And let's be honest, the only time you're actually going to see Kershaw on that mound is when America's up by what?
So let's say 20-1. Yeah.
Yeah. Like 8 runs. So does it really matter? I think we're going to be fine. And honestly, I would love to see Clayton ride off into the sunset one more time. And this time it's for everybody's team rather than just the Dodgers. He's representing America. What's better than that? America's team gets America's boy, and he gets to pitch us into a World Baseball Classic championship. I think we're okay with that. And honestly, if he took it away from his teammates Shohei and Yoshi, I
won't be mad at it.
I wouldn't be mad at it at all. Let's take a break real quick. We'll get to some of these other stories and get our predictions for this weekend's games as the NFL divisional series is set and ready to go. And I have some interesting stats that are going to go into some of these games as well, including everybody's gripe against Matthew Stafford playing in the cold. I don't know where this came from and everybody expecting him just to fold in the cold. Did we forget he played in Detroit for a while? But we'll talk about that on the other side. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. This is the early bird special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. You can also watch us via video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just like, share, and subscribe. Share with all of your friends, all that kind of good stuff. And join us here in the second hour as we have our guests of the day. Very funny Chris Flail will be joining us as he does every other Friday. And then right after that, we have actor and comedian David Koechner. Champ Kind himself will be joining us ahead of his show at Temblor on Saturday right here in Bakersfield. He is very excited. We are very excited. And I can't wait to pick his brain, not only about his sports teams, because I am curious if he is a Chiefs fan. I've seen him wear a lot of Chiefs memorabilia, but I am very curious to see which one of his roles he actually kind of goes back to or covets the most. I know obviously it's not going to be my favorite, but there's a whole ton of stuff this dude's done, and I'm very excited just to pick his brain on a lot of it. So let's talk about those incredible NFL divisional games, though, that you will be able to watch this weekend starting on Saturday and right here on KGEO Sports Talk. I would assume starting at 1:30 and 5 o'clock. Which game to you, my friend, is the most likely for an upset? I know a lot of people have their eye on that Buffalo-Denver game right now. Personally,
I'm thinking Houston.
That's exactly where I was at. I think Houston has a very good chance to upset the number 2 seeded New England Patriots and Drake May this weekend because that defense, I keep highlighting it every single week. They're for real.
Yeah, I think both games on Sunday, I think those will be the most entertaining ones with the Rams and Bears. And going back to what you were saying before we went to break, I mean, that has been the big topic of everyone. Oh, it's an LA team, playing in, below degrees, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of these players, including Matt Stafford, it's not something that you could say that they didn't do all those years that Stafford played in Detroit and playing in, Green Bay in December. I mean, it's something that these athletes, professional sports, it's not something that they usually do when they play in LA, but a lot of these players played in snow. They played in teams with Green Bay in Chicago. And I don't think it's going to be as big of a favor or something that's going to push. Okay, well, the Bears are going to, move up 2 points now in the odds. I still think it's going to be a hell of a game, but it's going to be if the Bears can keep it close enough. Because if you watch the Bears this year, I think it's 7-8 games that they were behind going into the fourth quarter and won. And I think as long as they keep it between 7 to 10 points in the fourth quarter, we got a game.
Well, even then, I would like to say that, but they just came back on a Packers team 21-3.
The Packers aren't the Rams.
True. I agree with you that the sub-temperature argument against Matt Stafford doesn't really make sense. The man's 3-3 in sub-temperatures. It's going to be 20 degrees out there in Chicago. He's played in that weather before.
Devontae Adams played for the Packers.
Yeah, I get that. Obviously, like Bolt said, when you go and live in LA for a while, your body gets acclimated to the LA weather. I understand that. But Matt and Devontae, I mean, like you just said, they played in it. They know how to at least prep for a game that's in that type of cold. So I don't think it's going to be that much of a difference either. Stafford usually steps up in these kind of instances, and I just can't see him losing to Caleb. I really can't. I love this Bears team. I love what I've been seeing, but you just highlighted it yourself, Sparky. We get one good quarter of Bears football a game. It's usually 3 subpar, if not just enough to keep you in the area. And then fourth quarter, they just magically wake up and become a championship football team somehow. And I cannot say that you can get away with that against a Sean McVay and a Rams team. I can honestly say that I think that this Rams team most likely will score quick. They will score often, and they will find ways just to make Caleb really uncomfortable. And even if they do get to a fourth quarter comeback, I don't see the Rams losing it. I mean, we just saw the Carolina Panthers almost pull one off, but the Rams were able to make plays late to make it or to take the game away. I can only say that we're going to see the exact same thing as they go to Chicago. That's just me.
So what are your thoughts with the first game, the Buffalo at Denver?
This is the only one that I'm looking at where I'm genuinely wondering if Denver is going to pull this off. You guys have heard me the last couple of weeks say that I don't believe that the bye week is actually going to help teams like Denver and Seattle. I'm standing on that. Although great defensive teams, We heard Bolt say it yesterday. The Denver Broncos have come back in 11 games, which is an NFL record. You can't give Josh Allen that kind of a cushion. If Josh comes out and honestly wins this game on his arm alone, I think they're walking into a Super Bowl because this is going to be the best defense that they're probably going to have to face. I don't know if I know I just said that the Houston Texans have a good chance to upset the Patriots, but unless they do, the Patriots defense is not as good as the Denver Broncos defense. And Josh has just gone up against probably the best run defense he is going to have to deal with, which means it's going to be a little bit easier for this offensive line to move guys around in Denver. I would assume that they are going to be coming ready for this. And I am assuming as well that Denver, having sat a week, is going to be coming in a little rusty. And that's why I genuinely believe we might see an upset this weekend and Buffalo pulls it off. And we see Josh Allen finally move forward in all of this. And honestly, Cam Jordan said it perfectly yesterday on First Take, which I believe I have the audio as well, that we've all been saying it for weeks. This is the only opportunity, or I shouldn't say the only, this is the best opportunity that Josh Allen has had to win a championship. And if they don't win it this year, there's going to be more questions than answers. And don't hear it from me, hear from Cam Jordan.
And my mom was like, if there's a year to win it, no Joe Burrow, no Lamar, no, like the no Pat Mahomes, the AFC that normally has been playoffs the last 7 years. I was like, this is the year. This is where paradigms get elevated. Like, okay, we think Josh Allen, I've called him Andrew Luck 2.0, but he's been a league MVP. Like, you don't do that because, hey, Andrew Luck was a baller. He was a supreme baller. That being said, this is his time where you go from, oh man, he's a really good quarterback in league MVP to phenomenal, sensational, Super Bowl champion. This is the year. But that being said, now you have to have the Denver Broncos conversation. Sean Payton has now had 2 weeks to put together a master plan. What has he been doing? He's been in the lab for the last 2 weeks. He probably gave the players the first week off. Hey, you guys go home. I'm in the lab working. Then when you come back, you're fresh. That front is formidable. That back, the back, Pat Surtain anchoring it. Come on, the defense is going to win it, and that offense, all it has to do is maintain. And you got both Knicks that he can do that. But I'm saying, Sean, you give Sean Payton 2 weeks, and I love it for the team. Knicks that he can do that. But I'm saying, Sean, you give Sean Payton 2 weeks, and I love it for the team.
Yeah, sorry, I doubled up at the end there, obviously, but he makes a very good point. I would assume that Sean Payton has been working on some sort of master plan for Josh Allen and or the team he was playing against. But
I like Denver in this one, man.
I don't know, dude. I'm telling you, it's the giving the guys a week off part that I am kind of curious about. I mean, we heard it with Bill Belichick, no days off. And that, I think, is why the bye week kind of plays against the team that gets it sometimes is you do have those teams that send them home and say, hey, go take a week off, go rest up and get ready for this game. But they're not really resting the way you should. I mean, I think it's better off if you actually pull people in, you guys all prepare together for 2 weeks rather than just a week. But again, I'm not in these front offices or these coaching rooms, so maybe there's more strategy to it than I'm really thinking.
I think if it was a Buffalo team from a couple years ago with Leslie Frazier and a couple of these more of the defensive mind, I think that just the defense is getting older. They're dealing with a ton of injuries on top of that. And I think if Buffalo pulls it, it's going to be on James Cook's back. I just don't see Denver's secondary giving up a lot unless it's Josh Allen on his running.
Right.
But I think it's James Cook. If he can get a big game, kind of like what we said with Bolt, we talked about the over and under with, I believe Vegas had it at 68.5 yards. I think if he gets over 68, that should be a good win for the Bills, but it's going to rely on Denver's defense. And what we've been saying for months is what Bo Nick's team or Bo Nick's offense are we going to see? Because we've seen him struggle in big games like this. So, I mean, hopefully these 2 weeks will, get him back on the feet, but who knows? Because 2 weeks, like you'd said, a lot of these teams, a bye week kind of takes out of, what they were building. You get a week or two off. We'll see with Seattle. The Niners usually play Seattle pretty tough, but they're dealing with a ton of injuries just like Denver. So, I mean, it could be injuries or, I mean, I'm really leaning on Sunday's games as the favorites because if New England can pull this one out and line up with a team like Denver or just an AFC showdown with Buffalo. That could be a hell of a game.
I think if it's and again, like I was just saying earlier, I think if Buffalo and New England see each other in the championship game, I think Buffalo takes it this time.
Yes.
I genuinely do. I think after the last game they played, they have figured out a way to at least slow down the offense and find some weak points in Vrabel's defense. So it would probably fit better for them if they do face the Patriots in an AFC championship game. But it is the offensive inconsistencies as well. And the James Cook point you just made that I think add into my point of why I believe Buffalo will win, because Buffalo has won games on the back of James Cook this year and will do that more times than not if they are given the opportunity.
Say something crazy happens and we get Denver and Houston.
That's going to be an interesting game because if we get Denver and Houston, it's going to be off the back of both Bo Nix and CJ Stroud. And
it'll just prove defenses win championships or easily, at least get you there.
Easily.
But Houston is playing some tough football right now.
They are, but my main concern with Houston is CJ and this snap issue that they had in the last game. 5 fumbles. 5. They may have only lost 2 of them, but they had 5. And you cannot have those snap issues this late in the season. It's not acceptable. So hopefully they found a way to clean that up. I assume they have found a way to at least make the offense easier for CJ going into this game. But you're going against a Mike Vrabel defense as well that is rough, tough, and ready to make it a bad day for you. So it's really going to be off the back of CJ and Bo because, like you just said, and it goes with the offensive woes of Denver this year. If we get a good Bo Nix, we could see a blowout. If we get a bad Bo Nix, we could see Buffalo walk away. And I don't know if Denver fans are going to be really accepting of that kind of an outcome. If they don't win this game and Bo Nix looks like crap, we may see a lot of Denver Broncos fans calling for Bo Nix to be moved because he's not the guy in their eyes.
You can have Tua.
I don't know if that's going to be much of an
You can have him. I just said you don't even have to trade anything.
You can just take him. Just take him. And on the opposite side of this, the other game we haven't talked about yet, the Seattle Seahawks against the 49ers. Seattle now dealing with a banged up Sam Darnold. I'm assuming this injury happened during their last game in week 18, and he's probably just been sitting on it and trying to find ways to heal. But San Francisco will be without Fred Warner and George Kittle in this game. What do you see happening?
I think it's going to be feed McCaffrey and hope this younger guys step up, and it's next man up. And I think this is going to be a low-scoring AFC or NFC West type game.
I agree with you 100%. And if it is feed McCaffrey day, that's actually a bad thing for the 49ers because the Seattle defense does very, very well when they can key in on one guy. So I don't know if that's going to be a very fruitful strategy if that does end up being what the San Francisco 49ers do. But Christian McCaffrey's a freak, so maybe I'm wrong. Let's take a break real quick. We'll get to our guests of the day. Chris Flail is first, and right after that, actor David Koechner will be joining us ahead of his show at Temblor this weekend. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Early Bird Special Hour 2 right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. I'm Chris Burdick. That's Sparky right here in the KGEO studios. And as we always do on Fridays at 8 o'clock, I forgot my day for a second here. Chris Flail's in the building.
Good to be back. Nursing my wounds as an Eagles fan, but good to be back.
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead, get it off your chest.
well, he's probably happy now. They fired the
I'm
OC
home.
finally.
So 2 years out of my great 39-year life, we went to the promised land and won championship. I never thought I'd see it. I thought I'd live my whole life like all my forefathers have. But now we have returned home as Eagles fans to great buildup and strife, to ultimate disappointment and longing for next year, where we could take solace in knowing only that we fired our worst coach, only to find our next worst coach next year.
I still think your worst coach is the defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, but that's just me as a tasty, salty Dolphin fan.
Dang good worst coach if that's the case.
Really? Because that defense did nothing for me in my fantasy team this year.
That's true. In fantasy football wise, they are awful. They're not a
Yes.
very good team to pick up. But
I
in
love
regular football,
So I can get Barkley in the third round next year. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, he
heck
was my
yeah.
first pick this year. He was my first pick this year.
I remember we talked about that because usually when somebody has an MVP type season the year before, everyone is just biting at the bit to draft him in the draft.
Here's my thing. It wasn't the MVP year. We all have to accept the Madden curse is a thing.
Here we go with
the Madden curse is real.
It's absolutely a thing.
Thank you. It is real.
I hope it's real because in other sport games, because I just heard this morning that CM Punk is going to be on the cover of the new wrestling game.
CM Punk is the showcase star. What I saw, the cover is Logan Paul.
The picture they're posting is CM Punk this morning.
I love CM Punk, but I will say I did find something funny a week or two ago. I saw that interview that he did where he was like, guys, you know, the online wrestling community, something's not going your way and you just complain all the time. Just enjoy the show. And I'm
coming
like,
from him,
I'm like, wow, what a change of tune. When you get the strap put on you, it's kind of been your whole career to not accept the results and how things are going.
If you're on Instagram and you're not following Chris Flail Comedy, you have to, because I'm going to go back to that video you did.
Thank you.
Like CM Punk, one of the best ones I've seen lately from you.
Well, I don't mean to be a teaser, but I did buy a long-haired black wig and an Ulafala this week.
God,
so
shut up, no way.
And I got my fiance. I already asked her. She has a little pink hair water spritzer, so that will be at some point today or tomorrow. We'll be getting.
And her involvement with the videos is just priceless, man.
She has got, and she's got to be the funniest part of the video.
It is. You wouldn't believe it either how good she's got. So I don't write out a script or anything. I'll be at work and I'll text. I'll be like, hey, honey, I got a skit idea. And she goes, okay, cool. On the way home, we run through it and then just one take hits it. I've been thinking about it all day. We do maybe 2.5 minutes of shooting. It's done. Easy.
That's awesome.
That's how you do it.
I keep telling her, take my act and you'll be famous instead of my ugly sun-spotted faced person doing it.
Maybe it's a tandem thing. Maybe the two of you need to start doing stuff together.
Hey, you're talking about a tour in March?
I'm just saying. Maybe she could be your lead-in.
I'm telling you, maybe.
Talk about all the stories that you don't want out in the world.
Yeah, just a roast every night.
Be like Gallagher and just dress up.
Gallagher and Gallagher 2.
Oh, God.
Gallagher 2.0 in our case.
Going back to your football love, though, in the Philadelphia situation, is it just Pennsylvania fans, though, that are salty, that just can't accept winning coaches that don't win Super Bowls? Because between you guys and the Steelers, I mean...
Well, I will say this. We don't get the credit, but we are optimists in a way. We're a fatalistic people, but I don't know if you saw, like, all of my comments after the game was, all right, at least we're going to fire Patullo now.
Yeah.
And they immediately went to, let's bring in Kevin Stefanski. And I'm like, all right, that's cool.
I have heard that.
Let's bring in Mike McDaniel. I'm like, hang on a second.
Right.
We got a team. We have skilled players that don't necessarily need to be asked how they feel all the time. They're pretty expressive about that.
You're already hearing that. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm never this guy. I'm always the defender of like millennials and new generations. But this is one of the only times where I'm like, you know what? Maybe younger generations are getting soft, because we, as millennials, were the generation of the diva wide receiver in a different way. So our wide receivers, if they didn't get the ball, they wouldn't block downfield. They'd divide the locker room. They might throw a dumbbell at a linebacker's head. But there was never this thing where if you didn't get them involved early, they can't catch the ball for the rest of the game.
Yeah, no, that's
AJ Brown and DK Metcalf. I heard the announcers going, he had a couple drop passes there, but you didn't get him involved early. When do you have to get him involved early?
You get paid to catch.
That's the whole point of being the diva wide receiver, is I'm open and ready all the time,
Mhm.
anytime.
Well, and we talked about that, on Tuesday when the Jordan Addison story came out about him getting arrested again for trespassing and like just this entire like persona now that just wide receivers take on, I guess. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but do you think that the hothead wide receiver era has reached a whole new level?
Yeah, because now it's gone like emo. Like I said, it wasn't so disruptive when AJ Brown did it because he was like sad tweeting kind of vaguely, like
Right.
if you made your girlfriend upset, but she doesn't really want to tell you, but she
Mhm.
kind of wants to tell
You
everyone
have to
else.
play the games. Yes.
She wants to get everyone else on her side before you get home, and it's
Mhm.
kind of like that kind of tweeting. But it's like, you know what? Be a little bit more. Like I said, be Terrell. Fight Hugh Douglas in the locker room, but
Right.
play on Sunday.
Flex. What do you think, AJ Brown? You think he'll be with Philly next season?
I do. I think so, and I
They'll
think
kiss and make out.
I think so.
Howie came out and said it again that it's hard to move off of really good players. I'm like, dude, just trade him. Trade him. Like it's really not that hard.
I know, and it is tough because I love him as a talent, but I do think for the team dynamic, it at least seems to me in my uneducated eyes that making distinct efforts to get him involved early seems to kind of take Devontae out of his flow a little bit because he didn't have much of a game, and he seemed like he was out of sync the whole time, a drop or two as well.
Well, again, I just think that the offense in general for you guys never really got clicking. I don't think it's ever worked.
That whole offense was in shambles this year. I don't know if it really depends on what offensive coordinator, what kind of mindset, if they're going to keep that offensive coordinator in the team, or if it's going to be somebody like a Stefanski, or there's a lot of offensive minded guys looking for work right now. But who wouldn't want to jump into that with Barkley? You got Jalen Hurts, you got two great receivers. I mean,
so many good jobs right now, though. The hard part right now is I don't think we're going to get an offensive coordinator until the Baltimore Ravens get a head coach.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of that's going to be the case for a lot of these guys. I think the Chargers are in the same boat. Like a lot of these guys, you want them or former head coaches to come play or come be your coordinator. Yeah. I just don't think a lot of these guys are that keen on doing it until these head coaching jobs are out of the way.
Yeah, and that's such a cherry position and very similar to the Eagles roster that until that gets filled, anyone who thinks they have a remote chance of it isn't going to sign.
No. Yeah, and a lot of teams that I've read is they're waiting until after this weekend because a lot of people, whether it's Joe Brady, Sean McDermott, but they still believe, those guys, if Buffalo loses this weekend, could be unemployed and will hit number 10.
Sure. How funny would that be for McDermott to interview for the offensive coordinator? Just draw the tush push on the whiteboard and go, hey, go ahead. Walk me through it, Sean.
Yeah.
Defend it for me.
Well, dude, I don't even want to, because
they're running it pretty damn well.
Exactly. And it was like, I brought that up on Monday, and I was like, you guys are between them and the Packers are the most vocal teams against the tush push. And yet you just used it twice in a row to win a game.
Yeah.
You clearly don't care. Like, I don't want to hear McDermott ever say, oh, it's about the safety of the players again. You do not care. Yeah. Like, you cannot convince me you actually give a damn.
I know.
So it's just ridiculous.
I'm really interested in that Buffalo-Denver game, by the way, because I'm finally I get to pick games with my head now instead of my heart because everybody's gone. But I went back and just took a look at the game stats from that playoff game last year, and in that first drive, it looked like Denver had them right where they were about to give them a long day, and then what was it, 31-7?
Yeah, and again, and that could very well be the case this year, but the defense looks a lot better than they did last year.
It does.
My only thing is it's the same thing that what Sparky highlighted is the offensive inconsistencies with Bo is just too glaring for me, and giving him a week off doesn't exactly give me confidence that you guys figured it out.
And I don't know if in a year they would have closed that 31-7 gap, but the defense is better and they've got him at home now, which is
they definitely closed it a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily say it's gone the other direction yet, but I could see this game ending 28-21, something like that. Somewhere in that area.
And as a non-fan of Sean Payton personality-wise, I would just love to see them lose. I love him as at least coaching schematically, maybe not allegedly Bountygate schematically, right. But yeah, and the lowness of going after Russell Wilson during the season, I would just love to see him not win anything.
I would too, but again,
Anybody but the Patriots.
My
That's where I'm
hatred
at.
for Sean goes back to the Saints years, just because I'm a Falcons fan and I just don't want to see this man that successful.
Yeah.
Like, I love seeing him successful, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm also like one of those fans that I love seeing the teams that I hate build up a little bit and then get knocked down. Like, you get the hope up and then you get to sit there and say, see, you're just as bad as we are.
There you go. There you go. Next year it could be your year.
Well, I'm not going to go that far.
But the Russell Wilson story scares me as foretelling for Jalen Hurts, because very, very talented cornball. It can go south. I don't know if you saw the aura farming. So that Jalen Hurts smoked the cigar very clearly in front of the camera. Aura farming, you get that one, and when you win, we all go. But then Hard Knocks aura farming after you've lost of that very curated "we'll be back" shot. You get one more of those. And then if you have a bad season, the memes are coming at you. Will be Russell Wilson in a year and a half if you keep this up.
How do you feel about about Jalen right now? Because I see a lot of Philadelphia fans turning on him and saying that he just isn't a good quarterback. He's a good runner, but he's not a good thrower.
Well, yeah, it's like I love him for what seems like his limitations. Now, I will say he's fought through more adversity at a higher level of success than anyone I can remember seeing.
Yes, especially going back to college and the Tua Tagovailoa thing.
Yeah, 5 offensive coordinators. I think it's been in 5 or 6 years, and he's played at the team has been at a Super Bowl caliber level that whole time. But clear limitations going, like you said, going all the way back to college, being replaced by Tua, who also clearly has some limitations, and he's got these spurts where he looks like the best quarterback in the league, and then he's got other spurts where he seems like he's not processing defenses and they're shutting off portions of the field, and then there's times where he just neglects his own weapons. I don't think I remember seeing him run one time during this
honestly, I can't think of any major rushes this year for him at all.
Yeah, and in this game I don't think he did it. He did it one time against the 49ers.
See, I think that you guys need to go back to that. I think you need to utilize some sort of like option like offense where you get Jalen the ball on the ground more often. And honestly, that's why I think you should move off of AJ, because AJ is not going to help in this situation.
I agree.
And having a guy like AJ who's just going to complain he's not getting the ball all the time, although yes, he is a great player, you can find somebody to fill that spot. And maybe not be as impactful as AJ, but be just as good to get you guys back to where you need to be.
Well, especially in that 49ers game, because the announcers weren't giving them credit for it, but San Francisco was getting a lot of upfield pressure with their front four. And without any, they weren't really running a lot of screens. They didn't run any quarterback draws. We'd run our standard halfback, third down and long draw.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why I believe Robert Saleh is going to get a head coaching job somewhere, because when you have the defense you have right now, which is all guys from Walmart and Kmart, I mean, you might as well give this guy a head coaching job for what he's been able to do.
And should. Yeah. No, you shouldn't hold the Jets against anybody for too long.
No. And I mean, going back to the Tua thing, that's something I wanted to pull that audio yesterday, because Darren Waller did a media interview yesterday, and he was talking about, man,
I saw this morning.
He said, I watched Tua in practice, and the guy was perfect. He was hitting passes that I've never seen anyone hit. And he said he feels that there is definitely something from those injuries that is still lingering, because he said he looks like, a deer in headlights when it comes to game time. And that could be very well something. But going back, I was saying the same thing about Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense. I think that's what was missing this year. It was the player option which opened the deep ball, which opened Saquon's lanes. And that was what I saw that was missing this season.
Well, I will say, as it regards Darren Waller, I hesitate to trust the judgment of a man that fumbled Kelsey Plum and then wrote an R&B song about her. So I don't know about his analysis of Tua. Exactly.
Well, you would know more than I would.
But I think it's a symptom of two different things. You had coaching questions, offense questions, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. When your team, the Rams pulled out of it somehow, but when your team goes under the public heat lamp of scrutiny of what's wrong, is there strife in the locker room, is there a problem with the system, you start overthinking. I've had jobs where I was doing poorly and started getting questioned, and I couldn't do anything anymore, and I forgot how to send an email. It's very hard when you get criticized for each step of your of your process of doing your job to maintain that going forward. And I think the pressure of that can build up on anybody, even more so than just general talent or ability.
See, my thing with the whole Waller situation, and there's a sidebar I wanted to see if you heard the other part of that interview as well that I saw this morning. But one, I agree that I don't know if I can trust Darren's analysis of Tua, only because I've heard a lot of NFL players who talk highly of their guy, especially their quarterback, no matter how bad he played.
Mm-hmm.
But if there is something lingering personally, and this is, again, like you said, from an untrained eye, or at least from an outside looking in situation, I think it has to do with the amount of hits Tua's taken and the amount of concussion Tua's had, and him knowing that one more probably is the end for him. And it's different going out in practice when you know you're not going to get touched.
Yeah.
And you can throw and be comfortable and do all this type of stuff and be happy-go-lucky and be the leader. But then when you go out there in an NFL team, or I guess another NFL team, and on any given Sunday, and they're just looking to destroy you, all he's thinking is, oh God, I have to protect myself right now.
And was not protected at all early. Just trotted back out there when they had a playoff chance, and it looked like maybe a Super Bowl run. And as soon as that team went to 6-11, 7-10 status, everyone's burying him.
You can see it in his face, in his facial expressions. I mean, this year the offensive line looked a lot better. They weren't giving up as much, and you could still see it. Like you can see it in his face. Like he wasn't all the way in there. And it reminds me, I think it was Jim Rome yesterday. He was saying the same thing about, like, if you've ever been in a car wreck, you know, after a couple of weeks, you know, it's you're a little shaky when you go out to drive again. And it's one of those things. I mean, he's a professional. I get it. But, you know, with those mind of head injuries and being cracked that many times, I can understand. But there was also another reason that they had mentioned in the interview, is one of the reasons that they benched him is because if he was to be injured and it was another concussion, Miami would be forced to pay even more money than they're already owing.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting offseason, especially with how many coaches, and with maybe one more being before the offseason actually begins. It's going to be interesting.
Sparky, do you think that Tua is your long-term guy as a Dolphins lifer?
Who
do you want? Is there someone you've got on your radar that you want to see, or do you want to go in the draft?
He's been ready to ship Tua out for half the year.
I am ready to see what mindset, what type of coaches we're going to bring in.
Aaron Rodgers' final ride.
There you go.
No. But I
get
would
Dan
expect
Shula to come over there too.
You can't do anything without a coach. So I would see what kind of coach we're going to get. And, you know, we're going to end up trading Tyreek. We're going to get some type of return for that. I don't know what that'll be.
Yeah.
And I would expect either Tua to be released and pay up the money within the next 3 or 4 years where they can cut it up. But we'll see.
Yeah. I honestly, if you guys don't sign Shula as your next head coach, the football gods will be so mad at you that they will punish you.
I don't think it's going to happen.
He's really tied to the Steelers right now, which is what's making me concerned, because I'm sitting there like, dude, if y'all lose out on Shula, I'm telling you, the football gods will punish you.
I don't think it's about losing out. I don't think he's a top priority. And we've interviewed 9 guys for this position, and Shula is not even on that list.
Which is wild to me. It's incredibly wild.
I personally think it's going to be somebody like Vance Joseph, or I would expect even maybe Brady if they go hard. He's got a history with Miami, but there's a lot of them. I mean, who knows? I think you hit it right on the dot. Is nobody's going to be hiring anybody until these big jobs like Baltimore or Pittsburgh line up who they're going to hire.
Teams on the cusp. Yeah,
exactly.
Who in your eyes is the best coaching job open right now?
Man, it'd be hard to look away from Baltimore. But the other thing is, I mean, from a team standpoint, I think Baltimore has the best roster. But if I'm looking for some long-term stability and job assurance as a head coach, you got to look at that Pittsburgh job. I mean, and what have they had? 3 coaches in the 30 years or something like that? You know, the Rooney family is going to give you time to get it right. There's going to be no 1.5 to 2 year hot seat. They'll be with you for the long haul. So from that standpoint, that is a really enticing thing about this entire situation that I did highlight yesterday as well, which is just the longevity part of it. Yeah.
Because we talk about Baltimore, but Baltimore doesn't have that history of of long coaches. That yes, Harbaugh was there for 20 years, but the guy before that, I mean, they haven't had that kind of longevity. Whereas, like you just highlighted, Pittsburgh stands by their dude and they go with him.
And that Baltimore owner's press conference made it seem like the next coach will not have a 20-year rope.
No, absolutely not. Biscotti, though, dude, that guy is amazing. I know we don't hear from him often. That's by design, but some of those sound bites were just so
he gave us enough. That's for sure.
I just the would he have coached if they made the kick line was so good. And he just said for a week.
Yeah.
Said, wow,
brutal.
Okay, this guy he seems so chill, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I want to work for this dude.
See, that's why agents are so important, so that people, sensitive player like talent, players, artists, never have to hear what executives and business people really think.
Mm-hmm. And that man does not seem like somebody that has a filter. So that's probably why that was the first press conference we have seen him in what, 7 to 20 years, something in that nature. I'm not 100% sure.
Well, with the second half of this, I mean, wrestling with the new year, some new storylines. I know we've got a big SmackDown as they're, I believe, in London tonight or right now, pretty much. Some big matches. I know Randy Orton's supposed to line up with The Miz tonight. Damian Priest against Solo. Who else we got? Matt Cardona and Trick Williams.
Yep. And then there was a fourth match to that too, which
Carmelo's Open Challenge.
Ilya Dragunov, I think, is fighting somebody as well.
Sammy.
For Sammy. That's exactly what it is for the for number one contender tournament thing they're doing at the moment.
I will say I've been happy with the start to the year from WWE. I liked Raw on Monday. I liked last Friday's SmackDown. I liked that they gave Drew the belt. I liked that they brought Jacob Fatu back to seemingly be a tripartite for challenging the belt together.
I think there's going to be a long line of superstars that get a shot at Drew with that belt. I think it's going to be quite some time before we finally see him get or have it taken off.
So you think he'll hang on to it for a while?
Because we got guys like Jacob would be perfect to go up against him. Solo would be great to go up against him. A revival of the Damian Priest rivalry would be great. Sammy needs somebody to go up against, and it can't be Cody.
That would be interesting. I was worried that they were going to do kind of a roulette with the belt for a while.
Well, and then you got Oba Femi coming back up, and you brewed that up.
That's what I'm pumped about.
Dude, that guy is going to be incredible.
Yep.
I mean, they really are setting this up for Drew to have, I think, a significant run with this belt.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope you're right. The only thing that I worry about is just in parallelism. I would also like on the women's side to see Raquel get a title run, a long title run. And this is probably out of left field and makes no sense, but I kind of don't feel like, from a storyline standpoint, I don't feel like you can give Drew a long title run and Raquel a long title run at the same time. They're kind of comparable big bad bully storylines, and with the Vision roaming around and gonna have theirs, I don't feel like you can do both. So selfishly,
the positive to that, though, that my counter to that is that they are on separate shows, so you can get away with it because there are people that only watch one and not the other.
Is that when we finally see Raquel against somebody like Rhea, or are we finally going to get her against Liv?
Raquel and Rhea have had a long-standing rivalry that you can go back to, but I think that would be the first one that you put up against her if you really want to test her.
Well, and this is where I give credit to the writing team, because they're finally pushing into a position where I can't tell what's going to happen next anymore. When it comes to the tag team titles, I don't know if Rio is going to beat Liv and Roxanne, and if they don't beat Liv and Roxanne, can Liv, no pun intended, live with Raquel being the champion and she not being. So it's one of those, one way or another, there's a bunch of fragments outside of this next 3 or 4 weeks that things can go in really different ways. And I don't know what the Rumble and everything else is going to look like.
That's the big thing for me, is what is the Rumble going to look like now?
And that's my favorite PLE.
It is.
Same.
And that's coming up very, very soon. And we were going to see at least 1 or 2 surprises, I would think.
See, I hope they don't bring Jericho back for the Rumble, because if they bring him back for that, he's going over the top rope, and I'd like to see him come back with some winning momentum.
Or he's not, and he goes up against Gunther.
There you go.
Maybe interrupts a Gunther match or something. I think he's going to be there.
That's the one thing I don't understand right now, is the Gunther AJ Styles technically making him tap out. The only thing I could foresee for it is that it's kind of the WWE acknowledging, like, hey, we kind of screwed up Cena's retirement run. We're going to fix those when we do AJ Styles' title run and have him leave with some grace and like wins instead. The
I
Brock
can see that.
Lesnar beatdown and the Gunther beatdown. It's almost like them saying, we're not going to do that with AJ this time.
I could see that, but at the same time, I'm also sitting here thinking that they're just building up this rivalry between AJ and Gunther for the inevitable, which is Gunther retiring him at the end of all of this. But then again, I have been floating around the idea because yesterday, for wrestling fans, TNA had their first show on AMC Plus, so they are now on a streaming service as well. And AJ was there and actually started out the show. He's a long legend from TNA, and I wouldn't be surprised if WWE just kicks him over there and says, "Hey, we know you would rather do it over there."
Yeah.
So let's put you up against their biggest guy for their biggest belt, because you're not going to get that opportunity over here in WWE.
And then maybe when you retire, help run this thing.
Exactly. Oh, 100%.
Perfect.
I think he's one of those guys that I can't see outside of the world of wrestling. He has been a part of it for far too long, and he would be a fantastic producer.
Yeah. And at his age, to still work the way he does in the ring. I mean, you see CM Punk is doing great, but you see him in the ring, you're starting to see his limitations.
Right. And it's going to be fun. That I think, is the fun part about watching these guys retire is you're going to see Rey Mysterio step up as the next manager / general manager of AAA, essentially, when he retires. I think the same thing for AJ. We'll probably see Santino step down, and AJ is now the main guy for TNA. And then we're going to see these big name wrestlers do what Paul is doing for the WWE and just making the companies bigger and bigger and bigger as they go, because they also have the eye for talent.
Yeah.
So I could not agree with you more.
And with Orton and Trick Williams, I'm hoping to see, because that
match is going to be fun.
That looked cool.
Well, Orton hurt my feelings missing Cena's retirement to go ride roller coasters. So I'm happy to see him come back and put some younger talent over.
You know what? That did kind of sit weird with me as well, that he was at, what was it, Beast Park or whatever the heck he calls it, instead of actually at the match itself.
Yeah, come on. Get on out there.
Involve
yourself. Bring them cakes out. Join the show.
The fact that Punk and Cody were the two that walked up to hug Cena at the end and it wasn't Randy, I was kind of salty about that.
And then Cody Rhodes doing his best Jalen Hurts aura farming afterwards.
Dude,
crying,
him
looking
staring
at, the
like, I get it. They have a long history together, but that was kind of caked on a little bit there. Like, you've already been the dude. This isn't like he's just now passing you the torch. No, you have been that guy for years, my guy. This isn't like anything new to you. So you can't just now tell us that you're finally realizing that I'm the John Cena of the company now. No, you've been calling yourself the quarterback for months.
If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Talented cornballs. You got to watch out for them.
I'm telling you. And that's what really makes wrestling, though. I mean, look at Matt Cardona.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to talk about a talented cornball, there's nothing more than Matt Cardona.
Yeah.
We are running out of time, though. Are there any shows that you're looking out for? I know you said you're headed to Hawaii next week.
Heading to Hawaii next week and force myself to not do shows. We're booking up the spring tour that I told you about. We got April planned out, so I'm doing the Bay Area shows to start. I've got some close by at the end of the month. I'll tell you those venues as they get a little closer, because comedy is a sea of vultures, and I don't want, and I don't want the venues getting 20 comics reaching out going, "Hey, Chris said you guys are looking." So,
right,
when the events get up, I will tell you guys more about that. But April's filled up. We're working on May, and then June and July. I'll keep you guys posted.
Fantastic! Can't wait to hear about all of those, and enjoy your trip to Hawaii. I'm very jealous. I've never actually been.
Me neither.
I'll send you boys some pictures and drink a couple Mai Tais for you.
So
please.
just so we can sit here and hate you more. That's what it is.
Absolutely,
we're going to be up every single day doing this show at 7 to 9, and you're going to be out at a beach in Hawaii soaking up sun rays.
I am sorry, I will miss next Friday because I'll be drinking Mai Tais, but I'll be thinking about sports and you guys the whole time.
In the hotel watching wrestling.
We better see you chiming in on the YouTube chat too.
You got a deal. I'll do that.
I'll be watching you.
Well, appreciate your time, brother man, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
All right, love you boys.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Let's take a break. David Koechner on the other side talking about his upcoming show at Temblor. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk.
with Sparky and Burdick.
Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. Mr. Koechner is trying to get into the streaming system right now, so hopefully we'll be able to go straight to him once he is set up and ready. If not, we'll pull him in here over the phone lines. But also want to say thank you to our usual guest on Fridays, Mr. Chris Flail, for dropping by. He will be out next week, obviously taking a well-deserved vacation out there in Hawaii. And honestly, I'm very jealous. Never been out there. So I hope he enjoys himself. And hopefully we will be able to talk to him in 2 weeks about the Super Bowl and everything else going on in the world of sports and wrestling. Sounds like Sparky's got Mr. Koechner on the line. So we will be talking right now with one of the funniest men in my lifetime, hopefully yours as well, as he has been one of the most highlightable actors on television.
Busy man.
Busy man. He is Todd Packer. He is, Champ Kind out there in Anchorman. The list goes on and on. I could sit here for the entire rest of the show just telling you who this man is and what he's doing. But you can go check him out tomorrow at Temblor as he does his stand-up special for us here in Bakersfield. That's Mr. David Koechner. Sir, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you.
Good morning, sir. Wow, that's something new. I like it.
Sorry, I'm on the younger side, so I call everybody sir. But we appreciate you joining us today. What brought you to Bakersfield? Why was this one of the locations you decided to drop in?
I don't know. They asked me to. Why not? It's close to home, you know. I had an opening in my schedule.
True. Fantastic. We love hearing that. And obviously for people who have seen you on television, they can obviously know you best from your spots on The Office. My personal favorite movie of yours was Waiting. I loved watching you with Ryan Reynolds and Jake Long back when I was a child. But at this point, I just am excited to see whatever you do because you have an extensive list of just accomplishments in I can't even say the right words here because I'm
when you're trying to prep for an interview and the guy's been on 200 plus movies and TV shows,
it's hard to really explain. But sir, I just have to say personally from the bottom of my heart, thank you for making my life just more funny. Because without you being Champ Kind and the whammy situation and not even just sitting there trying to get Jake Long to be your assistant, it just made my life much better. So thank you. We appreciate you.
Wow, this is the best Father's Day card I've ever gotten.
We appreciate you. Well, besides that, we are a sports show, and we will get to your show here at Temblor here in a moment. But are you a Chiefs fan? I keep seeing you in Chiefs gear, so I was kind of curious going into the show.
Oh, yeah, I have been all my life since I was 9. I grew up in Missouri.
Did you? Oh, that makes total sense. How did you feel about the team switching over to Kansas then? Are you part of the fan base that's up in arms about it?
Well, is it really happening?
From what we understand, yeah, it is going to happen.
Well, I don't know. Until the shovel hits the dirt, we'll see.
True.
You know, look, plus, you know what? I can't control it. What am I going to do? Get mad about it?
No, this is absolutely fair.
Well, like I said, we're both big fans, and I want to get into kind of the animated stuff. I mean, besides The Office and a lot of the acting roles, what brought in, doing more of the voicing of these animated movies?
Well, most actors, if you're given any opportunity to work, you're going to jump at it. Mm-hmm. So, if you're fortunate enough to have it, then yay. But, it's not a hard job. You got to go in and sit down. Heck, guys, you don't even have to shower.
Mm. Well, it has to make it a little difficult, though, because you are, at least from what I've watched, your comedy is a lot of facial expression, a lot of exaggeration. And how is it difficult, or like, how do you kind of make that come out with a lot of these characters like Rick from American Dad?
Well, in a way, it's all the same because you're acting. That it's you just have an intention, and that's pretty much basically it. You have to do something that's in line with the script and the director's intention, the writer's intention, and you hope to, serve that.
So my other question is, we've seen you in comedies, we've heard your voices on these animated movies, going back into The Office with Todd Packer and all of these, but for somebody that hasn't seen you with stand-up comedy, what can we expect this Saturday night over at Temblor?
Well, you expect an hour of comedy, I hope.
A whole hour of comedy. Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what you expect. If you're going to go see a comedy show, you hope to see an hour of comedy.
I mean, that's fair for people who haven't
I
seen
guess really, to define it further, it'd be me doing an hour of comedy.
Absolutely. And for people who haven't seen your comedy, though, how do you kind of explain your comedy? Is it more like family stories with you and your son? I know I've seen a lot of videos of the two of you on social media lately. Is it more?
Oh yeah, that's tonight. I'm doing a show tonight in downtown LA, and he sings corridos, which is a Mexican style music. So I asked him to do open tonight. It's the first time we've done that, so it's not typical, atypical.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, I do a stand-up show. Everyone has their own style. Obviously, I'm a bit more bombastic, and I have quite a life. I have kids, show business, all the adventures, and I've been married, I've been divorced, all the stuff that we all go through, really.
So I noticed in your promo for Bakersfield, you called yourself a human jukebox, and I am very curious because I get what you mean by that, because everybody just runs up to you and says, "Oh, do the Todd Packer line" or something of that nature. How do you kind of go about your life with that being the case? I mean, you're a very popular person and a very recognizable actor, so I would assume that you get that a lot.
Well, it's in doses, right? And I'm lucky that my catchphrase is one word long,
right? But I mean, it must be also at the same, because I can see how it would get frustrating or annoying, but do you kind of see it as also endearing in a way? Because I mean, so many people love you.
I always think, would it be worse if it didn't happen?
True. That's absolutely true. And growing up in Missouri, was this always the plan? Were you always sitting there thinking to yourself, I'm going to be famous, I'm going to be in movies?
Well, no, I'm in a small town, Missouri. This is before the internet and all that stuff. It's such a world away, you don't know. The first thing I knew was I wanted to move to the city. And then later, when I saw SNL when I was 13, I realized that's something I'd like to do. But, it's so far off and there's no information about it. So as I got more and more information from books and stuff like that, then you slowly get to that goal.
Right. And obviously that led to you meeting all of these incredible people. Who was it on SNL that really made you think, I want to do that?
Oh, when I was a kid, it was the original cast of SNL in 75.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just the whole cast in general. And then obviously you went from there to just being the class clown in school, or did you start with stand-up?
Oh, no. I didn't do stand-up till later. I went to Second City and studied and did sketch and improv, and then also a place called the Improv Olympics. So I was there doing all my stage work, studied as an actor. You want to get a well-rounded experience, and then you put the time in and you do the work.
That's honestly pretty straightforward to me, I would think. So, I mean, you make it sound all so simple. Was
right.
this just the get-go? You just kind of clicked with all of this and it just seems that way to you? Is it simple?
Well, it really starts with a decision, right? You make your one decision and your plan, and then you go, okay, how do I get there? So you start with the goal and then back down to where you are presently, wherever you are, and then how do you get there? For me, I found out that a lot of people on SNL went to Second City. And so then I moved to Chicago, did Second City, did classes, and, that was that. Basically, it really does start with a decision.
So it's just more walking in the footsteps of the people you idolized, and that's kind of what made it so simple for you.
Well, follow their path.
No, that's incredible. That's awesome. And honestly, we've already talked about a couple of the things that you've done, obviously, on screen, but what in your mind is the highlight? Like, what have you done so far in your career that you say, you know what, that's the pinnacle right now?
Well, I hope it's yet to come.
Right? Yeah, right. No, I don't mean that in the sense of it's not.
It's over.
It's
over.
Which one do you look back on?
I could say this show this morning.
Oh, I appreciate that. I really do.
Right. Well, we've got our tickets. I'll be there front and center, and my wife. It's a big surprise. It's our anniversary tomorrow night, and I'm going to take her out to a comedy show like I usually do. I'm excited. I told her last night, that you were going to come on the show, and she said, "Is that the guy from The Goods?" That is one of her favorite movies, and it is
outstanding.
A lot of people don't give that movie enough credit, but you think of Todd Packer, you think of, The Office, and I'm going down the list of movies and TV shows you've been on. And yes, The Goods and Anchorman. Is there any, you've been in so many different types of movies, whether it's, Paul, with Seth Rogen, and, the comedy with, The Goods, and the difference between, the Austin Power movies, the Semi-Pro with Will Ferrell. You've kind of been with a lot of different comedy, duos type movies. Is there any one of those that, really stand out that you had the most fun doing?
Obviously, the Anchorman pictures were just a ton of fun. It was just, that's probably as good as it gets, in terms of this, that camaraderie and everybody playing together. And that was great. But, you hope every project is that same thing.
I have to go back to some that I watched when I was younger, but things like the comebacks and, like I said, Waiting and all of that. Did you expect those to be cult classics when you were shooting them?
Oh, no, you can't. You just, all you can do is your job, right?
Yeah.
And because it really does come down to what can you control, and I can only control my performance. And believe it or not, they don't come to me and say, "Dave, how should we market this?"
No, absolutely. I'm just more thinking of it like while watching these movies, I mean, you steal the show every time, especially in those that I've highlighted, but it's, to me, like you have this unique style to your acting and your comedy, and it's what makes these movies cult classics. It's what makes them so entertaining to watch. Is there anything that you like to throw your spin on? Like maybe you're talking to a director and say, "Hey, my character usually would do this." Like, is there something you go back to that kind of brings that comedy out?
That's nearly a philosophical question. You just do your job, and they hired you to do that thing. And so, you just, you hope to give a performance that is surprising and get people that, I guess, mystery is what you're looking for. How can I add mystery to this piece that someone, goes, "Wow, I don't know how that happened." I don't know if that makes any sense at all.
No, it kind of does. Trust me. Again, I know it's a very open-ended question and there's not a lot of great answers to it. It popped up in my head. Like, I don't know how an actor's life really goes about their job, especially when you have to work with so many people that are also so funny. I mean, you're sitting there with guys like Will Ferrell and Paul Rudd and all these other guys, Steve Carell. Like, how do you guys kind of bounce off each other to make it unique in your own rights? You know what I mean?
Well, it's part of acting, and the agreement, and it's, I guess it's hard to explain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't explain it if it's too
if everyone's doing their job and they know what the goal is, and the director guides you through the thing,
it just makes it easier for all of you to kind of come to that point.
Yeah,
absolutely. So no, I totally get that. Again, that's why I understand that the question's kind of a little too open-ended on my part, and I apologize for that.
But we're pumped, man. Get your tickets. Go to temblorbrewing.com. Tickets are available. They are going quick, and you can check it out at Eventbrite as well. And, going into the weekend, there's some big playoff football games. And, I'm a Dolphins fan. He's a Falcons fan. You're a Chiefs fan. We're all kind of just out watching now. So is there any Super Bowl predictions you want to throw out there?
I think the Seahawks are going to be in it. Sam Darnold's had a great story. I'd love to see him there.
I have to agree with you. I really hope he comes out, especially since now there's this injury that he's dealing with. I hope it's not that serious. But they have a really good team building right now. How do you feel about your Chiefs, though? I mean, do you think that there needs to be some drastic changes for you guys to get back there?
I don't know how drastic. There's obviously going to be a ton of changes, and we'll. I'm always excited. We've got a great organization, so obviously we're going to see how long it takes Mahomes to heal, and that's certainly concerning. But at least we get a little higher draft pick this year.
Yes, absolutely. And do you think Travis comes back for another year? Do you think this is it?
I don't know.
I would think that he's going to ride off into the sunset with his new wife and just be happy doing television.
If I had to guess, yeah.
You think he comes back for one more?
No. I think.
Oh no, I'm sorry. You think he's done? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean, as a fan though, for how long or for your entire life, has this been the most exciting span of seasons, I guess, for you? Or
100. Yeah, this has never happened for us. This has been an amazing ride.
Right. I mean, is there like any sense of sadness from you though that it potentially could be over, or do you think you guys just bounce right back next season?
Well, over what? Like when we get?
I'm sorry, over the division. Over the division,
like we did. No. You're always hopeful, but I just appreciate what happened. That's so rare, and I'm not sad.
No, of course.
Dude, I waited 50 years between Super Bowls.
Well, I'm almost there. I've been waiting 40 for my Dolphins, and it seems like we're in quicksand because we're not getting any closer than when I was in the 80s. So I'm hoping a quick recovery. That Mahomes injury was terrible, man.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you've got Andy Reid, I think they're always going to be in the conversation.
100%.
I could not agree more. But, sir, thank you so much for your time. We know you're incredibly busy. Go out tomorrow to Temblor. Tickets are available right now, I believe, at Temblor's website.
Yep, and Eventbrite. You can go to temblorbrewing.com, or you can look them up at Eventbrite. We've got the link on our Instagram, and we really do appreciate your time, and we'll see you tomorrow night, brother.
God bless. Hope to see you there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. We do not have another break, though, do we? So we'll be rounding this one out before we get out of here. Spark, any other major stories that you saw?
Well, there's something I wanted to throw out because it's just something that's rare, and it's a Friday. I'm gonna just throw it out there. We're looking forward to the Offspring Bad Religion show tonight.
That is going to be fun,
and that's another show. You got one more chance. You can catch me on 101.5 Big FM from noon to 3. We're gonna give away 2 more pairs of tickets before the show tonight. But there was a story. I've got 2. One of them, it was going off of that 49ers injury theory that you've been talking about with San Francisco.
The PG&E plant.
Yes, and the company next door came out yesterday with a press release saying medical and radiation experts say there is no specific evidence connecting such fields at those levels to tendon or ligament damage, and the 49ers have practiced near the substation for decades while winning multiple Super Bowls. So I would appreciate if you guys left us out of the conversation. So that one,
this all sprouts from somebody on the internet too, going down to the plant and measuring wattage and all of that type of stuff. Again, this was just a theory. I've been trying to figure this out. Who has hoodoo vexed the Niners for years, but that made all the sense in the world to me. At least it made more sense than what we're watching.
And this senior in high school out of Arizona, he plays basketball at Maryville High School. He made history earlier this week, scoring 100 points in a game, and he did it in 3 quarters.
Dang.
And they won the game 109-25.
I hope you won the game.
So the kid put up 100 points in 3 quarters,
wait.
And the rest of the team scored 9 points in the
fourth
quarter. Exactly.
Yeah. That's even if they scored them in the fourth quarter. Let's be honest. They could have scored all 9 of those in the other 3 and not even scored another single point in the fourth quarter.
So obviously he's becoming the first player in Arizona high school history to reach triple digits in a game.
That's incredible.
But he scored 70 by halftime, put up 30 in the third quarter, and then the coach is like, all right, have a seat.
That's enough. Yeah, that's enough. That's a Lisa Leslie situation. That's enough. Sit her down. We all know you're that good. We get it.
It was just one of those stories that popped out. Usually I would wait until, Wild Thing Wednesday, but it was one of those stories.
Keep your eye on that kid, because that if you're scoring 100 points in high school, I mean, we were talking about these guys throwing games and having trouble because the other team is so bad. I mean, shoot, that guy's not going to be able to throw anything. We got some text messages, my friend.
The first one says, I'm predicting Seattle over Houston in the Super Bowl. What do you guys think?
Seattle over Houston in the Super Bowl? That would be definitely defense wins championships type of a season, but it's possible. It's definitely possible. The biggest problem I have with it is the offensive situation, or at least the turnovers for the Houston Texans.
And the last one said, my picks this week is Broncos, Texans, Bears, and Seahawks.
Broncos, Texans, Bears, Seahawks. Those are safe. I think that's good. Again, the Broncos game scares me just because of the bye week and the stretch that they haven't been able to play football. God only knows what we'll see. And Josh Allen is an alien, as we have seen. So who knows? At this point, between him and Shohei Ohtani, I don't know which one is more of a freak of nature on their football or on their respected field.
Busy weekend. Go out, see the Offspring, Bad Religion tonight. See our boy David Koechner in at Temblor tomorrow night.
And do not forget, we will be dark on Monday. It is Martin Luther King Day, so we'll be back on Tuesday, 7 to 9 a.m. right here.
Go you.
I'm sticking with the Hoosiers. We're going hoo over here like some owls. We got to get out of here, though. This has been the Early Bird Special. Like, share, subscribe, all that type of good stuff. All of our social media platforms are on every single major social media. Well, I'm sorry, every single major social media platform. That was a bad way to put that, but it is what it is. We will see you guys on Tuesday. Sparky, let's get out of here.